So you crushed some chicken tenders before we got to the seats.
There was a 4-pack of tenders with fries.
Nice. Before I even saw you.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Once I got to the Garden and I'm getting in my seat, I want to stay in my seat, so I prowled there. But the weird thing about the St. John's game is like half the concessions are open. It's not like a full Knicks, Rangers, or concert at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
So I'd slim pickings on what I wanted. I really wanted ice cream. Every ice cream stand was closed. Maybe that has to do with being 9 degrees out. But can a man get some Rocky Road?
So we sit down, and Georgetown has won one conference game all year. I think they beat DePaul. St. John's is 0 for the Big East right now. So it wasn't exactly two titans. This was not John Thompson versus Louis Carnesecca in 1985, okay? So we get there, and we're watching a game, and let's face it, it's not very good basketball. It is broadcast on FS1 because they had a doubleheader for college hoops. So Gus and Bill Raftery are in the building. But it's a clunky game, to say the least. I mean, there's one combined conference win between these two squads.
I think I must have said 7 times, boy, these teams cannot shoot.
Yeah. So it was a little rough going. But towards the end of the game, I said, you know what? We should record our running commentary because Mraz and I are commenting on everything but the basketball. And I said, you know what? We should kind of do a pseudo play-by-play. So here are some of the clips that we did of our recording of the game. We will begin with the it was uncomfortable. It was off-putting that when you think of the Hoyas, you think of either dark blue or gray road jerseys. And instead they were wearing teal with dark blue numerals. It was so weird. It honestly looked like the new Charlotte Hornets, not even the cool old-school Charlotte Hornets. Georgetown is wearing teal jerseys with dark blue numerals. I didn't even know that teal was anywhere in their color scheme.
It's not. It's not.
Distinctly not. Everybody's making the same joke in this section that it's the Charlotte Hornets jerseys. And one. The free throw is good. A steal by Georgetown. Back the other way, and the slam.
They had a little bit of momentum. They didn't seize it. I think they need to bring the dance team back out here to really own the moment.
As you noted earlier, time to start making some cuts for the dance team. You think the dance team is... Oh, no, you think the cheerleaders...
The cheerleading squad rolls out about 48 women deep. And when you don't even have a football team, that's quite frankly unacceptable. That's participation trophies. 12, get in, get out.
You think it's time to make some cuts?
It's time to make some cuts to the cheerleading team. And quite frankly, just judging by looks and attitude alone, I can name about 30 that don't belong up to 48.
So it's time for some tough coaching.
I think they need to hire Gruden for the St. John's cheerleading squad. He'll teach them.
Got to make some tough cuts. So an oversized cheerleading unit that you were really upset by.
Yeah, just too many. When you have cheerleaders, you got to have 12, 15 max, almost like the basketball roster itself. 48 cheerleaders. We got one for every state.
The continental 48 you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not counting Alaska and Hawaii.
Right, okay.
Because we got 50 now.
Then we saw some young men on the Jumbotron dabbing, and that's never a good thing. 3 guys in their 20s dabbing. Not a good look on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, I'd also like to ask how you become a tuba player in college, and like what makes you pick up the tuba? To begin with, you have to start playing the tuba in like 7th grade. You can't be that good at it, and then you make it to college, and you would think St. John's probably is the worst tuba players of them all.
It's filling a void.
I would argue that anybody who's ever picked up a tuba has had a chance to play in a college band because not that many people play the tuba.
You're just trying to make the team, man. It's like a special teams gunner. I'll do whatever it takes to get on the field.
So the St. John's tuba player who's a senior is like the Matthew Slater of the Patriots, is what you're saying.
No question. You're just trying to get on the field, contribute. See, I could respect a tuba player at St. John's or at Georgetown because, again, they're just trying to fill a roster spot. They're trying to get on this field.
Get a life, honestly.
You're telling them to get a life.
Play the recorder, a little hot cross buns, and be done with it.
7 beers in, this guy's telling them to get a life.
Could you tell Bellotti, listening to him, that he's a little sauced?
Not at all.
So our next cut is it's a tie ball game late. And we've just sat through 2 hours and 15 minutes of pretty bad basketball. And both Mraz and I are getting itchy, going, okay, it's time to wrap this thing up here. We like college hoops because it's in and out 2 hours. Now it's at about 2:10. You know, we don't need to see any more bad Big East basketball. No overtime.
Not a soul in here needs overtime.
Gus definitely doesn't. Raftery has so many drinks waiting for him. So many. ice-cold Bud Lights, a couple of JMO shots over Pig and Whistle. The drive by St. John's, reverse off the glass is good. We're going to tie ball game again, 51 seconds to play. Raftery is begging for no overtime. You were starting to get real antsy. You did not want OT.
Hey, you got to remember something. This is coming off the national championship game. I was on 4 hours of sleep, had stayed in the city all day. Enough was enough. I had to go home. Another 50-minute Long Island Railroad train awaited me.
I've had the blessing of actually going out for drinks at the Pig and Whistle near the Garden with Bill Raftery after one of the Big East tournaments years ago. And he's just the best, as you might imagine. But, boy, does he know how to hold court. And so, if he's going to go to any of these bars around there, they're going to already have the beers and the JMO ready to go. What do you need, Raph? And it actually was Brian Custer who was doing the commentary with Raph. But you knew Raph was also saying, do I need this?
Quote, unquote, get me out of here.
Exactly, yeah. So my play-by-play chops have been questioned before after my Facebook Live endeavors with Conference USA. We played some of those clips, and Mraz killed me pretty good on those. But I thought that last night, even after a Bud Light tall boy, I thought actually my play-by-play was probably better than when I actually had studied the rosters a couple months ago. Tie ball game, 37 seconds to play. Georgetown with the ball. From three, it's good. The return of a Ewing to the Garden. St. Patrick's Cathedral. What do you think about that remark? St. Patrick's Cathedral.
It sounds like something you thought of on the subway ride over.
No, it wasn't. That just came to the top of my head.
If it did, that's golden.
It's golden.
Sounds like maybe something we should have made the slug for the Watch DA today.
So here is Georgetown Radio's final call as the Hoyas survive. Here is, I hope I'm getting this right, Rich Chavotkin, I think.
That's what Bogus told me.
Okay. On the Georgetown Hoyas radio network, of course, my script says Georgia Hoyas because it's Mraz.
Shamori Pons will bring it across. Sideline left. Pons trying to drive. Up fakes. Puts up a jumper. Missed it. Rebound falls to the deck. And that's going to do it. Georgetown wins. Hoyas wins. Patrick Ewing wins. Patrick Ewing wins. Patrick Ewing wins. Patrick Ewing wins. And the Hoyas win 69-66.
Oh, that's weird. That's Patrick Ewing wins against a Big East team that doesn't have a conference win yet. Not Georgetown wins, but Patrick Ewing wins.
Patrick Ewing wins.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, and his voice cracked.
That's really bad.
Patrick Ewing wins.
I mean, it's like Sid Bream. Come on, scoring from second? Come on, what is this?
Patrick Ewing wins.
That's ridiculous, honestly. That really is. That's ridiculous. How many times did he say Patrick Ewing wins? 4 times? You could say it once. Georgetown beats St. John's. Patrick Ewing wins in his return to the Garden. Do I need Patrick Ewing wins? Patrick Ewing, like it's the shot heard around the world? Is this Bobby Thompson? Come on, is this 1951?
Patrick Ewing wins. Patrick Ewing wins. Patrick Ewing wins. Patrick Ewing
Come on,
wins.
that's 4 of them. That's ridiculous. No, come on. That's really bad.
Very unnecessary, too.
Really unnecessary. I mean, St. John's hasn't won a conference game
It's
yet.
going to sound like if they ever make a Final Four.
Seriously. So Patrick Ewing won. The team didn't win.
Patrick Ewing wins.
Is tennis? Did Ewing just play in the U.S. Open? What, Patrick Ewing wins? Come on.
Beat Sampras.
So here's my final call alongside Mraz, and it was a little bit more subdued. St. John's not calling timeout. Down 3. 8 to play. From 3. Hoisted up. It's no good. Rebound St. John's. One more shot to get off, and they don't even get it off. Ewing's return successful. Georgetown 69. St. John's 66. No Patrick Ewing wins. It's just professional right there.
You had a better final call.
That's
right.
Pro's pro right there.
Pro's pro.
Patrick Ewing wins.
Great sight line, 14 rows up. Perfect call.
And then finally, the way that we have to sign off any broadcast here on the DA Show. That'll do it for us from Madison Square Garden. Now for your update, here's Andrew Bogish. So that was our day at Madison Square Garden last night as Georgetown outlasted St. John's.